Right now, we want to dive into the guilty verdict in the Ahmaud Arbery case. Yesterday, a jury convicted 3 men of murder and other charges for chasing Arbery down and shooting him in Brunswick, Georgia last year. The 3 men claimed they suspected Arbery of committing burglaries in their neighborhood, and they were trying to make a citizen's arrest. Well, the jury rejected that defense. Many saw this case as a test of racial bias in the criminal justice system. So joining us now is legal analyst and attorney Joe Tamburino. We should note that he is not affiliated with the Arbery case. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving, Joe.
Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving.
So let me ask you, all 3 men were convicted of felony murder, but only Travis McMichael was convicted of malice murder. Explain the difference to our audience.
Well, with malice, that means there's a deliberate taking of life. And with felony murder, that means that you committed a felony, and that felony led to someone's death, in this case, Mr. Arbery. But everyone should understand that the penalties are the same. They're all facing life in prison. The only difference would be for the malice murder, you could get life without parole, and it would likely be without parole. And with the felony murder, you could also get life without parole or with parole. And if the judge gives parole, they would have to serve a minimum of 30 years.
So I'm asking you to speculate here, but what do you expect the sentencing to be?
I would expect for Travis McMichael, who was the person who shot and killed Mr. Arbery, that it would be a life sentence without parole. And then I would expect the other 2, Greg McMichael and Roddy Bryan, could face a life in prison, but with parole. So they might have to do 30 years.
So a lot of people, Joe, they just can't get their arms around this whole notion of a citizen's arrest because, you know, for them, it just seems so odd that people can just walk up to someone and arrest them in a way. So what is the origin of this in a place like Georgia?
Well, that's a great question, because Georgia's citizen's arrest law was from 1863. That's during the Civil War. Georgia wasn't even technically part of the United States at that point. They were with the Confederacy. So that law, it took Mr. Arbery's death over 150 years to have that law repealed. And I think you're going to see a lot of states going forward re-examining citizens' arrest laws because it's very ambiguous and it could get into serious trouble.
You mentioned re-examining those laws. We also have in this case and also in the Rittenhouse case, open carry laws were sort of put into focus. Do you see a change possibly happening with those?
Yes, we're going to see some type of change for a couple of reasons. First, every state has different open carry laws. Some states require permits or some type of license. Other states, you can simply carry openly. But right now, with the U.S. Supreme Court, there's a case out of New York where sometime within the next year, we will see if the U.S. Supreme Court expands a person's ability and right to open carry or restriction. It's right now at the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll probably hear something next year.
All right, Joe Tamburino, wishing you and yours a wonderful holiday. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And 48 Hours has an in-depth look at the case with its report, A Promise to Ahmaud, Saturday night at 10, 9 Central, right here on CBS.